Fort Wayne Rotary Club. In the Pledge of Allegiance, do we have a flag?
Yes.
Here we go. I pledge allegiance
To the flag
of the United States of America
and
and to the republic
republic
for which
for
it
which
stands, one
one
nation,
nation,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible, with
with
liberty and justice
for all.
Our moment of inspiration today will be provided by Ron Verley.
Our Rotary Peace Committee has been doing a book study of Dr. Martin Luther King's book, Strength of Love. It's a book of 15 sermons by Dr. King. Next Tuesday evening, March 2nd, will be our next study of sermons 7 through 9 at 7 p.m. And we'd invite any of you to join us in the Rotary Zoom room for that. Each sermon is one about a certain topic. And next week, we'll be studying one that is entitled The Rich Fool. The central character is a certain man whose farm yielded heavy crops that he decided so heavy that he decided to tear down his barn and build a bigger one to hold them all. He said, I have enough for many years. I will take care, ease, eat, drink, and be merry. But God said to him, thou fool, this night thy soul shall be required of you. And so it was at the height of his prosperity, he died. I thought at the end of Black History Month, it would be good to take a look at our inspirational moment with Dr. King. One of the points Dr. King makes in this sermon is that the rich man uses the words I and my so much that he has lost the capacity to say we and our. Oh, how that relates to our world today. There are so many of us that get so tied up in I and my that we forget the others around us. May we as Rotarians grow each day towards people who always think in terms of we and our to work together for the common good.
Ron, we thank you for your moment of inspiration. So welcome to the Fort Wayne Rotary Club. Do we have any visiting Rotarians today? If so, please raise your hand, unmute, and introduce yourselves. Hearing none, are there any guests of Rotarians?
My name is James Chan. Why can't we get to the charity? This is my first time.
Oh, welcome.
Thank
And
you.
President Jeff, he's my guest.
Okay.
Jeff, we were supposed
Welcome.
to have a student on this morning and I don't see her yet. So if she hops on, I will go ahead and do introductions at a later date.
Wonderful. Any other guests? If not, if you've not already done so, please check in online on whatever social media you use and tell your friends that you are visiting the greatest Rotary Club on the face of the earth. This date in history, man, this was a date chock full of things that I wanted to share with you. On this date in 1540, a Coronado expedition sets off from Mexico in search of the 7 cities of gold that they heard reports of somewhere north of where they were in Mexico. After searching for years in what would eventually become the Western territories of the United States, they returned broken and in debt. Remember, all that glitters is not gold. On this date in 1836, the Mexican army under Santa Anna began their siege of the Alamo. 13 days later, the entire garrison was lost. On this date in 1945, U.S. Marines raised the flag atop Mount Suribachi, Iwo Jima. The event was captured in an iconic photo by Joe Rosenthal, inspiring the Marine Corps Memorial War sculpture. And on this date in 1954, the first mass inoculation against polio using the Jonas Salk vaccine takes place in Pittsburgh at an elementary school. And in the world of sports, on this date in 1980, the U.S. hockey team defeats the heavily favored Soviet Union 3-4 at Lake Placid in one of the biggest upsets in Olympic history, becoming known as the Miracle on Ice. They went on to win gold. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! And on this date in rock history, in 1983, a collection of former studio musicians who called themselves Toto win Album of the Year and Record of the Year for Rosanna, Rosanna at the 25th Grammy Awards. Country singer Willie Nelson also wins Song of the Year for You Were Always on My Mind. You were always on my mind. And finally, on this date in 1990, Stevie Wonder wins a plagiarism lawsuit filed against him by songwriter Lloyd Chiatti, who claimed that he wrote, I just called to say I love you, several years before the 1984 release. Stevie claimed that he'd never seen that version. Get it? You know, he'd never seen it. Okay. And that's this date.
Yeah. Ooh.
Hey. Tough room. Rotary will now be provided by Tim Gibson.
Thank you, President Jeff. I will piggyback on your this date in history because tomorrow, the 23rd, will be the 116th birthday of Rotary International, founded in Chicago on February 23rd, 1905. Now, speaking of Rotary and 116 years, let me take you back a few years and give you a little history. Rotary is an organization that keeps its promises. Since 1985, and all the tomorrows that will follow until polio is eradicated from the face of our globe, to date, $2.2 billion have been spent and counting. A chance encounter with Bill Gates on an elevator resulted in Rotary's efforts multiplied threefold due to the Gates Foundation matching funds. Rotary is an organization focused on peace. A charter member of the League of Nations after World War I resulted in our role as a charter member of the United Nations in 1945. Since its founding in 2002, the Rotary Peace Fellows graduate program has placed 1,400 Peace Fellows currently serving in 115 nations. Riley's Children's Hospital currently treats 57,000 patients annually. The Rotary Club of Indianapolis was a charter member when the facility was built in 1924. The Jesse Jones Rotary House Hotel, which is adjacent and attached to the Anderson Cancer Center in Houston, opened in 1993. This edifice is the single largest project of any Rotary Club in the world, coming in at $26 million. We all stand on the shoulders of giants over the last 116 years.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
Well, that is your Rotary is. And so if we were meeting in person, we'd ask you to put $3 in the bowl on your table. But if you care to do so, please use the PayPal link and make a contribution to our Rotary is service program. It'd be $75 for a 6-month period. If you do pay some of those fees using PayPal, be sure you put a note on there what you're sending that money for, because otherwise Mark's going to say, what's this money for? Do we have any high fives?
I have one. I have a brother who is a senior in high school, and on Thursday, he finished his wrestling season undefeated as a state champion. So he's in Omaha, Nebraska. So he's Nebraska Class A heavyweight state champ. If you find me on Facebook, you can see I posted a few things because I'm a very proud brother. He is my younger brother, but he is my much bigger brother. I am not 6 feet. I am not 280 pounds. So he's a big boy. He's a very strong guy, but yes, very proud of him for that.
Well, it's still a good reason not to pick a fight with you.
He knows I'm the big brother, but yeah, he'd beat me up many times over.
Do we have any other high fives?
It's not a high five, but I'd like to jump in and introduce, because she logged in, Jasmine Swenson, who is a Rotary Student of the Month from Homestead High School. So I saw that she was able to log in. So welcome, Jasmine.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You bet. Do we have any other students that have signed in? Seeing none, we will move on. I would like to thank our Rotary workers today. Holly's handling our AV. I don't have a name for the spin. We have one.
It's me again. This is Mark.
Okay, Mark. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Now I know who to send my material to. Announcements. Well, unless something changes between now and next Monday, we are looking to restart our meetings at Parkview Field. So you will still have the Zoom option to log into and join us, but we will start up having in-person meetings again. I know a number of us have been itching to do that, but we wanted to wait until things were relatively safer. A number of people have been vaccinated and the number of cases has gone down, and they've eased off the color coding on the county and all around the state. So at this time, we're going to, again, unless something changes between now and Monday, restart our in-person meetings next week. And we've got a really good program to kick it off. So we're really encouraging people to join us if you can. Can I see a show of hands, so we can give Parkview an idea of a number of meals to prepare? How many might be coming next week? I have to page through the, okay, well, we got quite a few that are indicating they may be coming, so.
The reason I have two hands up is Lorelei's coming too.
I kind of figured that, yeah. Not that you wanted two meals.
Right.
Okay, we'll tell them to plan on maybe 25 meals. All right, there will be a board meeting tomorrow at 8 o'clock. It will be on Zoom. All are welcome. Board members are expected if they can make it. Please let me know if you will not be able to make it as a board member. And everyone should have received an email from Barb regarding our great Rotary Proud campaign that we are trying to develop and kick off, to give you some ideas of some sample statements of what have been submitted. And we're going to try to make it a practice every week of reading some of those that have been submitted and possibly even showing a video. Now, videos may be a bit of a challenge. We are going to try to show one, but first, let me read some that have been submitted so far. This one is from Stasha. The legacy of Rotary aligns with my belief that collective community impact can change the world. It starts here and it starts with us. And this is from Randy Roberts. I think Rotary is the absolute best non-governmental organization in the world for promoting peace and doing needed work to help struggling people everywhere through our 34,000 clubs in over 200 countries. There's one more from Mike Weber, and we have that on video, I believe, if we can try to access that.
I'm gonna give it a try. Hold on, let me get the people on the Zoom are over top of the sound. Here, let me try it.
Rotary is one of the few places you can go where the entire purpose, the soul of the organization, is to improve the community, not improve the community for just for one group of people or for one ideology or what have you, but it's for all people. And you can see that in the group of presenters that are brought to the table, and the Rotary members that are part of the club. There's a lot of varying opinions in that group, and we can bring those all together to figure out how to make the community a better place. One project at a time. Even though their work is invisible a lot of times, it makes an impact on making our communities better, making the world better. So that's why I'm Rotary proud. I am Rotary proud because Rotary is one of the few places you can go.
Now I'm trying to stop Mike and I can't get him to stop.
To improve the community.
Oh, I hit stop share and it will not stop. Hold on, let me just close out of Facebook. There we go. Did you guys hear that okay?
Yeah.
Good.
Super.
Shock that worked.
So again, you've got instructions on how to post a video. The link was corrected in a second email that was sent out. So you should have that correct information if you'd like to post a video. Otherwise, please submit a statement, 2, 3, 4, however many you would like to share with us of why you are Rotary proud. Oh, maximum 3? Okay, all right. We'd like to get maximum 3. So think about it. There's lots of reasons why we are proud, not just our club, but what Rotary does all around the world. So please share those if you will. Again, if you want to have a committee meeting in the Zoom room, Jane can reserve a spot for you. We do need to try to coordinate that, so please see her if you would like to have a group meeting. Are there any other announcements from the club? All right, if not, then I have down that Faye was going to introduce our speaker, but I do not see Faye on here. Unless
I'm on here.
Oh, there you are. Okay.
It says Deborah. That's my first name, but I go by Faye.
Okay. Super. Well, Faye, if you would introduce our speaker.
All right. So fellow Rotarians, I am proud to introduce Iric Headley, who is a relationship builder, but he has none more important than the roles that he plays as father, husband, son, sibling, friend, and mentor. He is an amazing visionary, deep thinker, and has a huge heart for people. Not only does he have great vision, but he has the capacity, knowledge, and leadership skills to coalesce people and resources for implementation and impact. As the director of Fort Wayne United, a City of Fort Wayne initiative, Iric has led the development of several initiatives, of which 10-Point Coalition and United Front are only 2. What I appreciate the most about Iric is that he is genuine, he's honest, a man of integrity, and even though I'm much older than he is, he has the ability to mentor up, and I appreciate his mentorship. Fellow Rotarians, please help me in greeting the director of Fort Wayne United, Iric Headley.
Wow, that is, I'm honored, Deborah Faye. Thank you so much for that awesome introduction. It's truly an honor to be here with each and every one of you. I see some friendly faces. I see some people that I do know, some people that I don't, and I do love being in these spaces because I'm always looking forward to meeting new people. Contrary to popular belief, I am not an extrovert. So when I see people virtually, it's a little bit more comfortable for me. So this is definitely a space that I like to be in. Let me echo what Dr. Robbins has said. Is I'm a dad, I'm a husband first. I'm a man of faith first, and these are the things that really do just motivate me to keep doing the work that I believe God has asked me to do in this community. But allow me to tell you how much Dr. Deborah has done for our community and the teams that she is on with Fort Wayne United. And I know she does the same thing here, but she's just been one of the most amazing human beings in our community, an example to so many of us who look up to her as African American people, and also just being in a perfect place to allow parents like me to feel a lot more comfortable sending my child to an institution like Fort Wayne Community Schools is because of people like her being on top. So Rotarians, you're definitely blessed to have her on your team just like I am. So thank you again for that awesome introduction. Today, I want to just give you an overview of Fort Wayne United. We don't have a lot of time. Typically, I take one segment of this presentation and I spread it out to about an hour. So it would not be impactful if I really try to dive into every single thing today. So I'm just going to give you an overview. And I've got two little boys, Braxton and Maxwell, and one of them made this presentation for me. I've got a lot of access to web designers and so many people who do this PowerPoint stuff for a living, which is not my expertise. So my young son, who's a sixth grader, created this PowerPoint that you're going to see. He wants to be involved in Fort Wayne United and United Front, and yeah, this is one of his ways of doing it. He comes to the Clyde when we have our United Front sessions now, and he just wants to be involved. So this PowerPoint presentation is created by my son. Every bit of information in there he created. So I'm going to try to share my screen. If I can't, then I'm going to have to go get him and ask him to help me out. So let's give this a shot. And then okay, so it says the host has disabled participant sharing.
Shoot. I actually just clicked on this and it said that anyone could share screen.
Well, let's try it.
Holly, if you just make him a co-host, it'll make it work.
Yeah, I gotta get to there we go. Get to his picture. Yeah, there you go. You're a co-host.
All right, let's see if I can make it
Should
work
be okay now.
That's half the issue. The next issue is me being able to do it. All right. So let's see if this will work. Can everybody see that?
Yep. Well, it says you've started. Yep, there it is.
Wow, he'll be so proud of me. So while this is loading, I've been in Fort Wayne, Indiana for, I think it's 30 years now. I'm 41. So I came here when I was 11 years old, and I saw my first homicide within 2 weeks of being in America, right on a street called Oliver. We lived at 2805 Oliver, and a young black man died on my front porch as I looked out of the front window. And then we moved after my parents were divorced. We moved to a street called Bowser, and just so happened that in the backyard, I watched another homicide from my bedroom window, the same exact situation. The back of the house, a young man was shot by police. And since that time, I've really just been passionate about this work. How do we help young black males in our community? And I did not know as a child that the lives of young black males was valued at a different level, because in Trinidad and Tobago, where I grew up, it was a totally different culture. And so coming to America and seeing that the young black male's life was just taken at the drop of a dime, it really shocked me. And so years later, for me to be directing this awesome initiative, Fort Wayne United, I'm honored to do it. And it just speaks to how we end up doing exactly what we're supposed to be doing at the end of the day, by chance or by purpose, is what I believe. So again, I'm just going to give you a quick overview and we'll land on our latest initiative. So let's talk a little bit about all the programs that Fort Wayne United has under our umbrella. And so these are all programs that we have, and on the right, you'll see our two big initiatives. So our live sessions started several years ago. When I first started, it was the first thing that I launched. And the LIVE is an acronym for listening to input and voices through engagement. So we did not wait for police interactions with the African-American community to blow up for us to do these sessions. We've been doing these sessions from day one, which is putting young black men in the room and having discussions with police, leadership of police, to really build relationship, foster healthy relationship. But the most important part is to bring their voices into a space that we're able to use it and better our police department and public safety. And so these live sessions are very small group meetings. We do them on Saturdays. A few people told me, hey, these guys are not going to talk to police. So the first time we scheduled that meeting for an hour and it lasted 5. Second time we scheduled it for 2 hours and it lasted 5. Third time 5, and so on and so on. So now we schedule them for about a half a day on a Saturday, and we dive into discussion with police officers. Our live forums are very similar, but in front of an audience. Our leaders luncheon is in partnership with the Global Leadership Summit. And during that summit, we take about 150 kids from all over the city of Fort Wayne, and we dive into leadership. Awesome program. Our True Success Initiative is kind of an exposure tool where we expose kids to college, the trades, public safety, all in a 2-day segment. Our late night basketball program. We have a Friday tie-day program, Meals for Healing, which is very timely. We had 3 men that were shot. 2 of them passed away within the last week. And our Meals for Healing program served these families with meals for 7 days straight, no strings attached. Our Public Safety Academy training, and then our lunch talk. So let me show you just some pictures. So here's our late night basketball program. Let me go back one, sorry. This late night basketball program happens at the Renaissance Point YMCA. And on a weekly basis, we bring in different leaders. This week, if you look at the kind of the left middle, there's a guy by the name of Dr. Carl Einoff. He's the president of Indiana Tech. So this week, Dr. Einoff and our councilwoman, Sharon Tucker, were our guest speakers. So we bring in the community, they engage with these young men and let them know that they're valuable. Our average is about 100 young men a night. We've had no issues, no problems, no violence, no nothing. It's been one of the most amazing experiences at the Renaissance Point YMCA. Our mayor's there, some of our council people are there, and our 10-point coalition, which you'll hear more about a little bit later on. We also have a screening because a young man passed out one night. We started to really do health screenings, and it went a step further. So now our partner is Parkview, and they do health screenings for these young men, and they also give them reports every single week on what they can do to improve their health. And we do a screening the following week, and we're able to track how their health is improving, reducing sugar intake, reducing salt intake. And we also connect these young men to doctors within our community. So it's been working really well. Lunch talks is pretty self-explanatory around our community. We always pick a community leader, a businessman, some way, shape or form, some person who can come in and speak to these young guys. And this is what we do at ACJC and in some schools around the city. Friday Tidy is one of our programs that unfortunately COVID forced us to shut down. So Friday Tie-Day is all around getting these young men to change the way they feel about themselves from changing the way they dress. And so you see some young men here who were taught how to wear ties. And if you look at this picture here, this is one of our tie-day sessions where we teach these young men all across the city how to wear ties. We bring in leaders. You see Derek Westfield there from the police department teaching the young man how to wear a tie. You see one of our Mad Ants players in the back there, that Caucasian gentleman. His name is Eric Zimmerman. He's over probation here in the city of Fort Wayne in the county. And so we brought in about 25 leaders from all across our city and to teach these young men how to wear ties. We donated shirts to them, and they wear these ties on Friday, and we engage in a conversation in a classroom. Here you see Pastor Rick Hawks of the chapel and Mr. George Hicks of Lincoln Financial. And that day, Rick Hawks talked about the triangle of life, which is skill, knowledge, and character, what you need to be successful as a young man. And of course, these guys thought it was a hit. There you see George Guy. He's the president and CEO of Fort Wayne Housing Authority. He was one of our guest speakers. And also, again, Pastor Rick Hawks, where we made a silly face because you got to let these guys know that you're human at times, right? So let's keep it moving. So we also have a thing called Dialogue and Race and Culture. We do these in suburban churches. We've done them at Black Hawk, the Chapel, Headwaters. This picture is from the City Church. Typically, we have about 60 to 70 people in these classrooms. This is a conversation at night with Pastor Luther Whitfield, John Such, and a few other guys, just having some great dialogue in front of our participants. True Success Initiative, as I told you before, we take them to the criminal justice system. Here you see them in a picture with Judge Wendy Davis. We all put them in shirts that say our true success. We also go to public safety, and they meet the officers in the police department and also the fire department. We also take them to the skilled trades. They build, they learn, and we are able to get employment for these guys in most cases with the skilled trades after they go through a process. Here we have our Police Safety Academy training, taking young men through kind of a simulator and letting them know the practices and procedures of the police department. So let's talk about our 10-point coalition. This is something that we're very, very proud of. In COVID, we had to again pivot. The 10-point coalition employs about 25 men and women. We call them OGs, and the OG is not for offensive guard, it's for original gangster, but it does not mean that everybody has been in a gang. It just means that these are individuals who have been on the streets at a point in their lives and now are a part of the solution instead of being a part of the problem. So they walk the Oxford community, which is where we started, from the hours of 6 to midnight. In between there, they walk 2 to 3 hours a night, meet the neighbors, greet the neighbors, find out what the needs are, and really in an effort to reduce crime, but also enhance the pride and the hope in that community. In COVID, we had to pivot because of COVID kind of just impacting our teams and also the community that we serve. We started a program called a Peace of Mind program. The Palm Package program is what we called it. We were able to serve over 40,000 people with dry preservative foods, and also some things that we call healthy habit packages, which came from the Boys and Girls Club. So in partnership with the Boys and Girls Club, we had over 40,000 families that were served during COVID. Let's go to what we track. And again, I'm flying through these. We just don't have the time to dive into every one of these. But we do a lot of tracking in the 10-point coalition. But instead of us just saying, hey, we're tracking data, we came up with some creative ways to really track what our progress was. So we created these C's. If you want to write these down, feel free, but they're easy to remember. So we track contact. So contact is Dr. Deborah driving through the 10-point coalition area, stopping her car and saying, hey, my name is Deborah Fay and I live in this area. Thank you guys so much for what you do. And she gives them her name. That's contact. So in 2019, we made 675 contacts since 2019 to 2020, which is a lot of contacts. I don't know in 1 year if you could make 675 contacts, but our team was able to secure 675 new relationships. Then we go to conversation, our second C. Conversations is when information is actually exchanged that helps us to help the neighborhood. So, hey, there's a person on a corner. I think he might be engaging in some illegal activity. Can you check into that for us? Yes. Hey, we heard of a gang that's trying to move into the neighborhood. So whenever these conversations lead to helpful information being exchanged, we track that also in 489 conversations since 2019, which is a big deal. We were also told that neighborhood would not give us information, and we've proven that wrong. With 675 contacts and 489 plus conversations, very big deal. We also do a thing called conflict de-escalation. Conflict de-escalation is if Deborah Fay, Dr. Deborah, got mad at Iric. And she said, Iric, I'm going to beat you down. And our 10-point men and women were able to get in between, go to Deborah Fay's house and say, hey, please don't beat up Iric. Iric really doesn't deserve that, and kind of diffuse the situation. And that is very hard to track because you can't prove that you have stopped something from happening. But there are at least 50 times that our men and women have gotten out of the community, in Oxford community and outside, to stop a retaliation or to stop someone from engaging in violent activity. So that's our conflict de-escalation. The other one is crisis response. So something happens in the neighborhood, the police officers are called, and we have such a great relationship with the police department now that they sometimes call us and ask us for support. So we might go to a scene, we might help them to manage that scene, to make sure neighbors know what's going on, to make sure that nothing spins out of control. That's our crisis response. Connection to resources, we do employments. We had a great relationship with Shambaugh & Sons. In 2 months, we were able to get 40 jobs within that community and get people employed. We also, with partnership with the Fort Wayne Fire Department, we did a smoke detector blitz. So we provided 120 smoke detectors and 30 carbon monoxide detectors that the Fort Wayne Fire Department was truly having trouble engaging in that community to get these smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors installed in homes. And with a relationship with 10-point Coalition, in one day, we did about 60, and another day we did another 60 smoke detectors. So very, very effective at improving the safety. Community infrastructure, the city, I work for the city, but in all fairness to the city and to the residents, sometimes sidewalks and trees being cut down, dead trees can take a while. Well, since 10 Point Coalition has moved into the neighborhood, sidewalks, we have a 5-day repair log now that when a sidewalk is reported, within 5 days we get it fixed. Dead trees get torn down, get cut down within 7 days. That's pretty historic. Also, that neighborhood, the lighting has improved since 10 Point has been there, and so many other things, because that community infrastructure is a big part of what we do. Community service, once a month, 10 Point during the summer would go out and clean up a corridor. And so we started on the Oxford corridor, and every single month we teamed up with a church, and we'll go out and clean that neighborhood up. We also have some businesses in the area, like the Pontiac Mall. Since 10 Point's been in the area, the manager of the Pontiac Mall said shoplifting has decreased by 50%, and he's very appreciative of the 10 Point Coalition being in the area. Last thing I'll tell you about 10 Point is we have a housing program where we were able to spend $250,000 to redo some homes. We did roofing, we did siding, sidewalks, furnaces to homes within the Oxford community, right on Woodview, because Woodview is the area that had the most home ownership. The Oxford community has a lot of rentals that we could not touch, but the Woodview area was the area that had the most home ownership. So again, about $200,000 is what we spent on helping these homes to be revitalized. And here's some numbers for you. So here's some decreases. This is why we came into the neighborhood. 2018 aggravated assaults were 29, 2019 10, 66% decrease. Shootings went down 63%. Rape went down 78%. Hand and fist altercations 55% decrease. Burglary 31% decrease. Auto theft, something that we were not planning on measuring, went down 28%. And those are amazing numbers. 2020 is going to look different, so we don't have those numbers yet calculated just because of COVID throwing everything off. But these are the numbers for our first full year in the Oxford community. We plan on doing a lot more. So let's move on to, for the next few minutes that I have, let's move on to the United Front Initiative, and then I'll take questions. So let me tell you a short story. I was responsible for a lot that was taking place on the ground during the social unrest over the summer of 2020. And we have, again, our 10 Point Coalition that we put on the ground to really reduce the police interaction with the protesters that were on the ground downtown. And so within a matter of a day, we realized that it was not going to go as planned. And so 14 days later, I was, quite frankly, just very hurt, very exhausted emotionally, mentally, physically, even spiritually. I was just exhausted. So I took off and I went to South Haven with my family, a place that we go and hang out in the summer times. And our fire chief, Iric Leahy, called me and said, "Hey man, would you jump on this call with me and meet this guy by the name of Pascal Lusambe?" And he said, "I really would like to do some implicit bias training inside the police department, in the fire department, excuse me." And I said, "Hey, Chief, I really don't have any interest, man. I'm not interested in meeting any more consultants." And he called again and he said, "Man, would you please jump on?" So I jumped on the phone and I met this man named Dr. Pascal Lusambe. And I took 2 pages of notes in a 1-hour Zoom call. And not once was the word racist mentioned. Not once was Trump mentioned. Not once was liberal, conservative, Black Lives Matter, Proud Boys, all the words now that we have identified as trigger words. None of those were mentioned. What he talked about that entire hour was this concept of shared humanity, a concept, a philosophy that has turned into a curriculum in the foundation of our United Front Initiative, which says that you are a human being and so am I, that we have these things inside of us that make us who we are. And if we focus in on the humanity of the next person, we can make a lot more progress than focusing in on the things that divide us and the things that separate us from each other, which are politics and race and so many other things. And so we built a curriculum around the shared humanity philosophy. And we started an initiative and never thought that it would be what it is today. But from that Zoom meeting, I remember telling our fire chief Leahy, hey man, in all due respect, I think we're thinking too small. This needs to be a citywide initiative. And I remember calling Joe Jordan. I called another individual in our community, and I called Dr. Deborah, and I said, hey, what would you think about this? Would you want to be on this committee? And she says, yeah, count me in. Of course, she asked me some tough questions, as she always does. And then she said, count me in. And we were off to the races. So now we have a wonderful team of individuals who have built this framework. And here are the individuals, here are the organizations that are represented on our United Front team. So Joe Jordan of the Boys and Girls Club, Josh Raines of Star 83, Marlon Wardlow from Parkview Health, Jeff Osterman from Sweetwater, Chief Eric Leahy from the Fort Wayne Fire Department, Dr. Deborah Fay from Fort Wayne Community Schools, myself from Fort Wayne United, Carolyn Ovid from the City of Fort Wayne, Allison Gerardo from Community Foundation, Brenda Gerber Vincent from Greater Fort Wayne, David Nicole from Headwinds. I don't think I'm missing anybody, Faye. Hopefully I'm not. But we have built a model that we are very proud of. So let me talk you through this. And hopefully most of you have seen this or been a part of this already. And again, this is something that literally was almost like a vision of mine, a dream of mine. And it's amazing to see that we were able to build it, right? So this is a monthly rollout. And I'm proud to also tell you that this is not a dream anymore. This is not a concept anymore. It's in action and it's rolling and it's making impact. So once a month, what we dreamed up that is reality now is that we would have a big keynote session. That keynote, at that time, we were thinking, where do we host it? Well, we landed on the Clyde. And now we are going into our fourth presentation at the Clyde in person. We did 2 of those in person. And we did 1 in person, and we've had to do the other 2 virtually. And we're going into our fourth presentation this Wednesday at the Clyde. So in this session, we invite leaders, we invite CEOs, presidents, anyone who wants to be there, we invite them to be a part of it. But we really want to hit the top layer of leadership in our community so we can influence them to really influence change in their organizations. We do know what it feels like, and some of you might know what it feels like to be beaten over the head. Well, what we want to do is change that approach and allow these individuals to be in a safe space that allows them to learn together. My wife and I have been married for 15 years, and we took a lot of premarital counseling. And while we do have our issues, the areas that we don't have issues in are the areas that we learn together in premarital counseling. So we learned about finances, we learned about parenting, and those are the areas that we really have not had any conflict in. So what if we could take leaders and put them in a room where they can learn together these hot button items, right? There's these items about race and implicit bias and so many other subjects that are really hard to talk about. What if they can learn together? And that's what we built, was a safe place, an environment for that really propels growth at the Clyde. And so once a month that happens in person, we record it, and then we send it out to organizations. Organizations get a link and they're able to log on and watch them. And then we have these monthly Zoom sessions that are taking place. So people leader specific are for the HR directors, the executive directors, the hiring managers. Those individuals are logging on and they're learning about how implicit bias and racism and the humanity affects us all in that people leader component. The education has been amazing. We've had 1 session so far. Dr. Deborah Fay kicked that off for us last week and a half, I think it was. And it was amazing. It was truly amazing. It was just amazing to see it happen, to see so many educators on the screen learning the same information, but in their own field. Criminal justice, we have the same exact specific Zoom session, again, addressing how does implicit bias and racism and the humanity of us all impact criminal justice and impact the system. And Judge Wendy Davis kicked that session off for us. And then we had one called Frontline Service. So these are individuals that are frontline in our community, the car salesmen, the clerk at the Walgreens, the insurance broker. We had that session the Friday before, no, last Thursday, I believe it was. And Tom Kelly kicked that one off for us. And let me go back, the people leader specific, Rob Wallstrom from Vera Bradley kicked that session off for us. And these have been going extremely well. We've had amazing participation. Also, we have a specific webinar that is focused in on how to build a diversity and inclusion task force inside of your organization. Again, not coming into your organization and calling you a racist, not beating you over the head, but empowering you to go back into your organization and make the impact that needs to be made. So we have a group of individuals that are going to be leading these sessions, local experts who are from all over our community. Right now, it's going to be Clifford Clark and a woman by the name of Lisa Gavan. She is the D&I expert at Indiana Tech. And so those webinars are also moving along really, really well. So this is a monthly snapshot of what's taking place in United Front. Every month, these are the sessions that are happening every single month. So you have a keynote at the Clyde, which will be on Wednesday. You have our people leader specific, you have education, you have criminal justice, you have frontline service, and you have how to build a D&I task force. We're also in the process of building a health box, because the health industry is another big industry that we want to make sure that we have some influence in as we try our best to change hearts and minds and expand the thinking of so many leaders in our community. And hopefully we'll also be building a faith box that'll be for churches, because so many churches want to be a part of this movement, and they definitely want to learn under the auspices of faith. So that is a very broad overview of Fort Wayne United. If ever you want to invite me back and I can give you the 20-hour version, or you want to spend a weekend with me, holler at me and I'll make that happen. But I want to leave some opportunity for questions that you might have for me now, and I can answer those as quickly as I can. Hopefully I've not gone over my time that's been allotted to me.
I have a question. We actually graduated the same year from Northern High School. Go Bruins.
Go Bruins.
And as a someone who grew up on the south side of town and who has a biracial son and daughter today, it's something that I appreciate, this type of learning in our community. Our company, I work for the Better Business Bureau, we're actually doing United Front, and just the first session in February was so amazing, and we had so much conversation that came out of our managers and our frontline. And so I guess my question is, how do we promote United Front so that more businesses and more agencies and it can be a part of it? Is it something they can still get in now, or do they have to wait until next year? I mean, it is we found it so valuable just in 1 month that we want to sing its praises and just tell everybody they need to be involved.
Yeah, great question. I appreciate it, Nicole. I appreciate it. Thanks for going to the greatest high school ever. Good decision. But I mean, the answer is very, very simple. We can promote it by just promoting it, letting individuals know, hey, there's a United Front movement that is in Fort Wayne. It's very, very inviting. It's warm. One of the feedback data points that we got was that people felt that it was inviting, and it was non-threatening to them, which is what we want. Some experts from the criminal justice system gave us some feedback. They said we felt convicted, not condemned. And that's the feedback we want. So we want our entire community to experience that, right? Because we know that our entire community has not experienced that. And so I ask you and everyone else, just send us an email, say, hey, we got this organization that we want to get involved, or tell people, jump on United Front. If they want to be involved, we want them to be involved. We do. We have so many different ways for people to patch in and tap in. We also have scholarships. So if individuals cannot, because there is a fee, but it's a very, it's the cheapest thing on the face of the earth. When you think about a 2-day conference and you spend $1,500 for a 2-day conference, or you can spend $150 for an individual to go through it for an entire year, that's absolutely amazing. The cost of it is very cheap. So promote it and let us know who wants to get involved, and we'll make it happen.
Good. I just didn't want to promote it until I knew that they could still get in this late, but
They
fabulous.
can,
Thank you
they
so
can.
much.
We do have late fees, so the longer they wait, we'll charge them $1,000. I'm just kidding.
Thank you so much.
Any other questions?
There's a
Oh,
question
sorry.
in the, I'm sorry, there's a question in the chat room. Randy Roberts asked, how is United Front funded?
That's a wonderful question. United Front is funded by private donors, all private donors. The only thing that is paid for from city dollars, I want to make this clear, is my salary. I'm a full-time staff of the administration. I report to the mayor's office, to Mayor Henry. I'm the only full-time employee that is paid in United Front. Everyone else, everything else is by donation. So Sweetwater Community Foundation, Follinger Foundation, Ruoff, I mean, Chase, so many individuals gave to this. So it's all private dollars. Great question.
Eric, first of all, nice job on the presentation. Good to see you again.
Thank you. You too.
I have a question on the 10-Point Coalition. Do you have any plans based on the wild success of that program to expand it to other areas of the city?
Yes, we do. That's a great question, Kurt. Yes, we do have plans. Actually, a week ago, last Saturday, the Wells Street corridor, the Bloomingdale neighborhood voted to get 10-Point Coalition in their neighborhood. But we also have the Oxford neighborhood south. So we are in Oxford North because we split Oxford community in half because we did not want to bite off too much more than we can chew. So we split it in half. We are in Oxford North, which means north side of Oxford. So the Oxford South is also wanting 10-Point Coalition to come in. So we got to make a decision, and it's going to be a data-driven decision instead of, hey, Iric likes North versus South or Wells versus this place. So we got to look at the data and find the best place to go. But yes, expansion is definitely what we want to do next.
Nice.
Great
Hi,
question.
Rick. Chris Blessner from Shambaugh & Son. I wanted to give you a quick shout out. You were kind enough to mention us in your presentation. But for President Jeff and all of the Rotary members, the 10-Point Coalition is a fantastic organization. We were in need of 40 individuals at our fabrication shop. We partnered with Iric, his team, and all of the 10 Points Coalition. He was able to go out, find us people that were ready, willing, and able to work, that were interested in working hard, and that were willing to show up every single day, put in a good day's work, and we were honored to have them and pay them as great employees. We're still working with them. We're still working with Iric. So on behalf of Shambaugh & Son, thank you, Iric, for what you helped us do.
No, thank you, man. You reached out to us and we were able to work with you. So thank you very much for the opportunity. We really appreciate it. And thanks for your kind words. Any other
Stephanie,
questions?
did you have a question?
I did. So I just wanted to clarify, within the education session, I know Dr. Lasambe was part of that Zoom session. Is he part of all of the sessions that you guys do?
Yes, that is correct, Stephanie.
Okay.
So he does all of the sessions except for the diversity and inclusion session.
Okay.
So he leads the education, he leads the criminal justice, he leads the people leader, he leads the frontline workers. And the reason we wanted local experts to lead the D&I is because we really want to highlight the local people who have that same expertise. So that's the only one he does not lead.
Okay. Thank you.
Great
Hey,
question.
Iric.
Hey.
Iric, it's Lynn Gilmore here. Great presentation. I'd like to hire your son to do my PowerPoint presentations.
No, he's mine. He's mine.
Fabulous. He needs a little extra income. You let me know. I have
will.
two questions. One is related to United Front. How many organizations and individuals are participating?
Oh, wow. Great question. And Lynn, the reason I'm always not throwing that number out is because it changes every single day.
That's
so
okay.
so as of, what time is it now, Lynn? So you don't quote me. As of 12:55 today, actually, see, it changed already because this was last week's number. We're about 155 organizations and about 7,300 individuals.
Wow.
So I want to point something out. I want to point out that when we dreamed this up, and I came from South Haven, Michigan, and I was talking to Joe, Jordan, and a few others. I said, man, if we can get 20 organizations there, this will be a hit. If we can get 500 people there, this will be a hit. That was my goal. And I remember my mom telling me, you shoot way too low. you know, shoot high. And I remember my wife telling me the same thing. You know, every man needs a smart, awesome woman in his life, because they always set me straight. So my goal again was about 20 organizations and about 500 people. As of last week, we had over 150 and over 7,200 individuals signed up. And it's now in Chicago. It's now in Ohio. It's in Indianapolis. It's now overseas, Trinidad and Tobago, my home country. So it's amazing to watch.
Great, congratulations. Then my other question has to do with, now that you have identified on Oxford where 10 Point Coalition is, we have talked with Diane Rogers. And you probably know she's been involved in the Summit City South Rotary Club.
Yes.
And is the neighborhood association building in the area that 10 Point Coalition is working? I'm not sure which is the north and the south side of Oxford.
Yes, it is. It definitely is. Absolutely, it is.
Okay. Well, you probably know that they're renovating that building. So maybe there's, you know, a group out of the folks that you're working with through 10 Point that might be able to coalesce and come alongside, you know, a couple of organizations and a few of us to help her get that done. What do you think? I'm putting you on the spot here, but what do you think?
I'll be happy to talk about that. We've got a
Okay.
committee that we go through. We got a 10 Point committee that I didn't mention, but anything that would help Oxford, we're typically on board with it. As you know, the neighborhood association, when we came into the Oxford committee, that was the first thing we did, was we rounded up about 40 people and spent a half a Saturday going door to door. We hit 400 homes for Diane Rogers to just get the neighborhood association a little bit more active.
Great.
So yeah, we're definitely here to help. My information is I'm pretty easy to find. So
Okay. All right. Well, I know you neighbor with Dan Baisden over there, so
yes,
he's my new good buddy. So
yeah, awesome.
I'll follow up with you.
It was nice to meet you.
Great presentation.
Thank you very much. I'll tell my son that
You do that, yeah.
Great. Do we have any other questions? If not, then Iric, excellent job. The work that you're doing is tremendous, bringing a lot of people together, and that's what this community and every community needs. So it's not surprising that it's spreading to other communities. So thank you for everything that you do.
Thank you for the opportunity to share with you. Have a good day.
You bet. Our program next week is going to be, again, at Parkview Field. And we're going to have a presentation on the new project that we're kicking off, the Go Baby Go project, in conjunction with a doctorate student from Huntington University. So you want to be there, or if you can't be there, then definitely join us on Zoom and get to see one of the vehicles. It's going to be a great presentation, so be sure to join us. And every week I call on one of our members to give them an opportunity to open one of the doors of the presidential cabinet. And because she was instrumental in getting and introducing our speaker today, I'm calling on you, Faye, to please select a door from the presidential cabinet, and let's find out what's behind it.
Is there a blue door?
There is a blue door.
Let's go with blue.
All right, and here I have a picker's choice. You can select a gift card from Starbucks or a gift card from Casa.
Ooh, two of my favorite. Let's go with Casa.
You got it. It'll be coming in the mail your way.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for helping make this a great program today. And lastly, I close the meeting with a line from one of the top 100 movie lines as selected by the American Film Institute. And I try to find a line that, in some way, and as I'm going through the lines, it's becoming a little bit more of a stretch to make the line tie in with our presentation today. And since so much of what Iric does is bringing people together, as you walk through the I don't know, it's 5 or 6 C's that they have, they're making contacts and having conversation, and even in the conflict de-escalation, they're getting the two sides to talk. So it's all about people getting people to talk to each other in civil ways. And so the line is from the 1976 movie Taxi Driver. Robert De Niro, "Are you talking to me?" The interesting thing it says here about that line is that it was an improvised line. The script just said that he speaks to himself in the mirror. And he made up that line on the spot, and it's one of the top 100 lines. So there you go. So as Rotarians, we look to the faraway test to gather thoughts, words, and actions. Please join me in reciting the test as we prepare to adjourn for the week ahead. Of the things we think they are
do. Is it the truth?
Is it the truth? Is it fair to all?
Concerned?
Will it build goodwill
and better
friendships?
friendships?
Will it be
beneficial to all
concerned? And boy, when we have it in front of us, it goes much better, doesn't it? Rotary is adjourned.